You know, people are lazy, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's easy to overpass the competition.
Yeah.
So easy. And you know what? It's even easier to pass the people that are at the top, I think. Until you have 100K in the bank clean, I reckon, you have to just have keep chasing. After that, I think you need to detach that fearfulness and just be like, fuck it. Yeah. I know how to make it back. I think for me, it's I really do want to go back to my roots, my Spanish roots, and I feel responsible, man. You know what I mean? People in my country are fucking poor.
Yeah.
I envision myself having this charity or even school teaching people about how to run ads, how to do things digital. If I could give these kids away, not only help themselves, but help their family and, have a balanced life and not have to stress about money and have to resort to doing drugs, I've won.
So I suppose I always like to ask, you've been on the online space for a little bit of time. You've been doing a fair bit of, high level stuff.
Yeah.
With different levels of service in your PR firm and your PR career.
Correct.
How did it all start, man? Where did this sort of come from?
By accident. So I was in real estate originally. I'm not going to go too deep into it because I don't think it's really relevant to most people that are listening. They just want to get the juice, right? So real estate, I've always been wanting to be my own boss. That's the first thing. And I always had a really good eye for branding and marketing and everything that I did. Work really hard, work 7 days a week for all the people. And then I thought, you know what, dude, if I'm working so hard for somebody else, surely I can do it for myself. And this was me 18 thinking these things. I started working since I was 14 as well, doing different, bricklaying, labours, typical, the Australian jobs that you get at McDonald's, things like that. Originally an immigrant from Chile. Came here when I was 13, turning 14, no English at all. No contacts, nothing. So, yeah, I'm an immigrant in Australia, like many people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But my story started when I got frustrated at my boss in real estate. I was, selling luxury properties here in Sydney. And I just said I quit. I didn't think about it. I quit. I was like, I'm tired of being somebody else's employee. I heard about this guy, Iman Gatsi.
Yeah.
On a podcast and, the things that he was doing. And I was like, you know what? I can do that too.
Yeah.
So I always had the I can do it belief, even till this day. I see somebody else doing better and it doesn't come from a place of ego, I'm better than them. He's like, hey, if they can do it, why? I always say this thing, why not me?
Yeah.
Why not me? I always think that. So I did that and I had no idea what to do as soon as I quit. I had to move back with my parents. I was living in the city.
Yeah.
But then I thought, you know what? I'm going to start I have no money. I'm going to start a podcast like this and I'm going to interview people that are making a lot of money online who are running a lot of paid ads. And I'm going to interview them, become their friends, and then hopefully learn from them. So I went on this 30-day journey. I had a podcast called Millennial Success, which I don't run anymore, and I did it with one of my friends. And it grew really quickly with it 50 episodes in 30 days.
Wow. Oh.
Very insane. On Zoom. This was when COVID just hit as well before.
Yeah.
2 3 years ago. And then, dude, it took off. We started making all these connections. I had Iman Gatsi on the podcast as well when he was a nobody. When nobody knew who Iman Gatsi was. I can show you the voice notes of me going back and forth with him, trying to organize it. It was crazy. And then doing this podcast, I realized, I'm like, hey, hold on. All of these guys, they need a podcast themselves. Remember, this is no experience. I didn't buy a program. I didn't understand anything about high ticket sales or anything as such. So then I would get on podcasts and then at the end I would be like, hey, do you want me to build your podcast? And I'll manage it and I'll edit it every month.
Start pitching it, yeah.
Yeah. So then my setup fee was $5,000 for a podcast, which is extremely profitable because it's all profit. I have to do it alone.
Yeah.
And then it was $997 a month, which is a no-brainer. But to have somebody that actually speaks English, somebody understands when to stop, when to cut it. I did everything manually. I had to learn how to edit. I had no idea how to edit. I had
had to pick it up. Right?
Remember, I started a podcast with no previous knowledge. So I did that for about 7 months. And then I had a guy reach out to me and was like, hey, this is really cool on Instagram. He's like, do you want to get featured on the press?
This is you get featured on the press?
Yeah. And I was like, yeah, sure. I didn't know this guy and I paid him $3,000.
For an article?
Yeah, and at that point I was making between $5,000 and $7,000 Australian. So that was $3,000 US. So it was close to majority of the income that I was making then. So then I thought, fuck, it's a lot of money, whatever. I'm sure that it will help me. And then it did help me actually. People saw me as an authority in my space for the podcasting industry because nobody else was doing it.
Yeah.
And I started getting all these referrals because oh, he's been featured here. And I'm like, hold on a minute, why all this hype just because of articles? I didn't understand it, right? And then I messaged the guy and I was like, hey, listen, can you show me how you do this thing? Very underground. This business is very underground.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, and I want to kind of bring that up to the surface a little bit
100%.
later. But so you're talking about at the time you said, oh, why don't you get featured in these online publications like Forbes, Entrepreneur, and all that sort of stuff, right? Yeah,
correct. So then I knew, I'm like, this service is fantastic, but this guy, like, again, when I talk about and refer to other people, I want people to understand this. I don't look down on people, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, I was better than them. But I thought, I feel like I can run a better process. And
of getting people into the press.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, hey, I need to know how to do this. He showed me for an hour, and I'm like, it clicked. I understood everything. And then I had to go and find the contacts. That's where that's where the difficult part came.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter because I always execute before I have the thing. Does that make sense? I always put it on offer before I build it. So I was like, I messaged all of my past clients that I had, and I upsold all of them. I made $15K that month. I had an hour. I called for 1 hour with a guy. 2 weeks, I made $15K.
From podcast to then getting them
in
featured,
press.
right? Yeah.
Because it was all connected. Because it's all publicity. It's all exposure.
Yeah, that's what podcasts are, right?
Yeah, correct. And at that point, nobody was doing this. You know what I mean? Now you've got people running ads or whatever, like saying getting featured on $97. Like those articles are dead articles. By the way, if people don't know that, those are dead articles. I would not get it. It wrecks your reputation big time.
Yeah.
You can tell, everyone has them. You can tell they've been paid. It's fake.
Especially for sophisticated, audience, right?
Especially for for example, my audience, who's people who are making, over $1 million a year, people who understand the sales tactics, the marketing tactics.
Yeah.
They're running paid
They're
ads.
running it themselves, right? Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So that's how I got into it.
Okay.
So at the beginning, I was obviously, buying through this guy because he had all the contacts. But then as I started putting more orders through and I started learning about the industry and getting connected, I flew to the US and met different people and built my own connections and built a huge database.
Yeah.
So now we have a database of like 500 plus publications that we've actually locked in exclusive agreements with them. So for example,
What does that mean?
So that means, so the way that it works is media companies, for example, like Forbes, they would have a pre-allocated budget every year for PR agencies or a media company to distribute certain slots of the publication.
Yeah.
So then we have access to that and then we distribute it to now PR agencies.
Gotcha.
Right. So I've gone from working directly with someone like you, which we still do for select few clients, but now I've got a division where I actually sell directly to PR agencies, SEO agencies or whatever. They want to resell that to their clients.
To then get that slot.
Because of the access that I have now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah, that's how it works. So the growth for us was pretty extreme and really fast, but it was predominantly because I was doing the action. I was talking to people. I was going out there. And this is the problem that people don't understand when they start an online business is they think it's just doing a post on Facebook. They think it's just commenting on people's posts. It's like a compounding effect that over time changes everything. It's like you, like when you started this podcast, right? At the very beginning, people are like, yeah, cool. But then you were consistent with it.
Yeah.
And imagine where this is going to be if you keep going in the next 3 years.
I know it's going to go, yeah, for sure.
It's crazy.
Yeah. I think you made a good point there, though, of taking the action.
Yeah.
Well, you're not necessarily ready. It's like, okay, I'm going to test this out.
Yeah.
And then you prove the concept like real quick.
Yeah.
Right. And then you go, okay, cool. So that makes sense. Now I'm going to expand. I'm going to build the network. And I think that's where a lot of people get stuck is they try to perfect a product or they try to get something to fit the market.
Yeah.
And it doesn't. What do you do? It's a waste of time, right?
I think about it this way. Like I look at, and people are going to laugh. I look at myself like a heroin addict. Like, you know how have you ever seen a heroin addict? Like they're always like this, like how do I mean?
Yeah, always
like this. I'm itching. I'm like, where's my next deal coming from? I'm always like thinking that ahead.
Yeah.
Like what are we going to do to grow? You know? It's so hard as well because when you start making, a fair amount of money per month, you get a point where you become comfortable as well. And also you hit a point where you become scared of losing money. I've been dealing with that for the last 6 months.
How do you mean?
So
where's it come from?
That comes from like I'm just so scared of being broke again. I'm so scared of going back to a job. You know what I mean?
Is that a motivator though?
That motivates me, yeah. I feel like I flipped the switch now last month with it.
Yeah.
I'm dealing with it a lot better. And now I'm like, I see money as game. It's a game now. It's like a Monopoly game. Truly.
I was gonna ask you, because I think that's some people got a really bad attachment to money.
Yeah.
I know that for sure. And you know, like, and I speak to, not necessarily clients, but sales reps who that's their game, right? They just chase.
Yeah.
And because they have a poor association with it, it works the opposite. Where they don't want to be broke, so they keep chasing and chasing things. That keep them broke.
But you have to keep chasing at the until you have 100K in the bank clean. I reckon you have to just have like keep chasing. After that, I think you need to detach that fearfulness and just be like, fuck it. I know how to make it back. And that's the key part. When you know that you can make it all back, nothing matters.
Yeah. I think that's the differentiator, that, right?
Yeah.
Like for people who I think do make it, where they okay, just for everyone listening, everybody at all different levels that I've spoken with have a fear of like losing everything. Yeah. In some way, shape or form. It's just how they deal with it, right? So that's like what you're saying is how you've dealt with that is totally different to where others would probably fall apart and take longer to pick themselves back up.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Where is it then for you? Where does the fear turn into action? Like, how do you do that so quickly? Because I think that's a big thing, right? So you don't dwell on things.
I don't think about things that much. I think one of the biggest things that I learned recently is just to test and become detached to the perception of who you are and what you offer. Just offer different things, see what sticks. Who cares? People worry too much about what other people think of them. I really do believe that. I did that for a long time.
Yeah.
Right? For example, like this watch, I know you're wearing a nice Panerai, right? This watch was $10,500, right?
I was going to say that looks good.
And like, it's nice. But the reason why I bought it and why I bought the Rolex 2 months ago, right? Because it came from a place of insecurity.
Yeah, okay.
Right? I want everyone to know that. Now, obviously, I'm used to it's an everyday wear watch, whatever. Like, it's cool, right? When you talk to people in the same level, it's not even a topic of conversation. Like, oh, it's a nice one. Which one is it? Okay, great. You get over it. You see another person in the street. They're like, dude, what the fuck you wearing that? Yeah. And to you, it's that you don't feel like... I was thinking about that this morning on the way here. I was out last night. And somebody made a comment. I was like, fuck, like this watch. And I was thinking in my head, I'm like, it's just a watch.
It's just a watch.
But I feel like the trap that people fall into is wanting to impress people that they don't even like. And I was like that for a long time. You know, buying a Rolex for me was one of the most disappointing moments of my life.
Really? Because I do remember when you posted that you bought something.
Yeah.
More for an achievement. It wasn't that way?
It was a good milestone, so now we'll never forget about it, right? But the brain has a way of building these fake emotions versus fake perception of reality of what it actually is. So, like, the reason why I wanted to get a Rolex was because I saw and deemed successful people with a Rolex, and then I saw the way that they reacted to it. So my brain grabbed that information, put it in a bucket like here in my brain, and then when I bought it, I was hoping to experience the same thing that I visualized and was experiencing. But in reality, it was my own experience, which was completely different to these people because I come from a different background, different family, different language.
Yeah. Yeah, they have different aspirations.
Different aspirations.
Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely. It's crazy.
Man,
like,
that's huge.
How do you feel like now being in this spot?
Yeah. Oh, look, for me, buying watches for me was initially, you got a good point. I thought I would get into the circle or into that place, right?
Yeah.
So I bought a. I've got a watch collection now, which
all right, you got to spit it out. You got to tell us what you have.
I really love. So the first watch that I actually bought was a Breitling, just the 39.
I never fucking like Breitlings, bro. 39. I don't know what it is.
But the thing is, I bought it because that's what my mentors had.
Right.
You know, I didn't buy. I bought the cheapest Breitling I could afford at the time, but I thought, if I want to get in the same room as these guys, they need to see, dressed to their standard. That's kind of what my thought was.
Yes.
And then it's funny when you said it. It's like, oh, is that it? Like,
it's like when you make 100,000 a month, like for the first time.
Yeah. It's like, so what? Like, what's next type of thing, It's like anticlimactic when I got that.
Yeah, like you become desensitized to the actual thing, but you become obsessed to the road that takes you towards the end.
I think that's, And I'm 100% sure that people have heard that over and over again.
Yeah,
that it's the journey that you do. But I don't think many people believe it until you go through the highs and lows, and you keep going through the highs.
But you know why, Pat? Because people have not been able to identify the difference between them and their brain. See, I call my brain Derek. Yeah. I call him Derek because I need to understand when Derek has been a dick and when he's trying to keep me down and keep me small. Yeah. Naturally, your brain is always going to try to keep you small. You know, me, Giuliano, like I want to go big, dude. I've got
Yeah.
big inspirations. I want to do big things. I want to reach people. He wants to keep it small.
Yeah.
So when you're able to differentiate, like, you know, your brain, really your thoughts, the real thoughts versus the fake ones,
Yeah.
it's so powerful.
I think that's good for people who can't necessarily visualize that too. I read an article actually this morning on the way here, how Beyonce has a Sasha Fierce, right? So they have two personas, and a lot of other people do. So I think that's a good point, especially if people are getting held back. When you say, you know, like it's me that's getting in the way, I think a lot of people don't have that separation.
Correct. Even I made a post about it on Facebook. I'm not sure if you saw it. I was like, everyone complaining that they're not making 10K the first month when they start their online business. It's because you guys are coming from a place of acting based on feelings and emotions with your business instead of being like, okay, for example, for me, Derek, fuck off.
Yeah.
I know from 9:30 to 10:30, I'm following up everyone on close.com. I'm sending my emails. I'm making a post. If I do these 3 activities, this is the result that I'm going to get.
Yeah.
Period. There's no negotiating.
Yeah. It's just numbers, right?
That's just what we do.
Yeah.
It's the life that I signed up for, but people don't get that. And that's the problem.
Yeah. And it's a bit of patience and things like that too. So
Patience is a big one.
yeah.
Like how do you stay patient yet motivated and yet hungry? So it's a hard one, bro.
It's a hard one.
Especially when you don't see results.
Yeah. Well, you know, I was going to say that's a good segue to you speak to a lot of people who are already at those levels, right?
Yeah,
Successful, and they want to get to that next level, and they use like specifically like PR to be able to reach that. Where do you think they're heading to? Like, what's their goal? Because I think vision is a big thing, right? So what's typically their vision when they get to that successful period in their business? Do you know what I mean? What are they trying to get to?
I think people get PR and they engage our company bluetick.co because they want to stop. They want to remove the friction between them and their prospective clients. So I was talking to a different guy yesterday who is a professional footballer, for example, in France, like top league, played against Mbappe, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
I met him yesterday in Sydney. But he came here for 6 months, and nobody knows who he is. And then so he looked at me, he's like, hey, you reckon you can give me a couple of news articles so when I go in, for example, like go on trial to Sydney FC or whatever, I can leave a link at the bottom of my email. Hey, if you guys want to learn more, type my name in Google, or if you want to learn more, here's a recent article that Daily Mail did about me.
Yeah.
He approached me in relation to that, and I was like, wow. The reason why people get PR is so you don't sell yourself, so you let other people sell you. It's like, for example, Pat, you know me.
Yeah.
Let's say you have a client and, they need a PR service. And they tell you about it, and you're like, hey, dude, I know this guy. He's really good. I vouch for him. Like, give him a call.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we do with PR, but at mass market, at scale.
Yeah.
Right? And it's not something that you say. It's something that you look at, and your brain's not going to register straight away.
Yeah.
Yeah. John, I know that we're catching up in 30 minutes. Text message comes through from the automation. Here's a recent link or a recent feature that Forbes did about us and our business, so you can learn a little bit more about what we do and who we are. See you in 30 minutes. Subconsciously, you said to the prospect, hey, listen, I'm here, you're here.
Yeah.
And that's what we want. Not in a degrading way, but factual way. Because people don't buy from those that they like and trust. I believe that they buy from those that they admire. Everyone that I bought programs or whatever, I subconsciously admire. Even if I didn't admit it out loud to myself, post-purchase, I'm like, I admire something about them.
Yeah, there was something about them that...
Yeah.
Yeah, and PR has a lot to do with that because it's especially credible sources, right? So then, because I know you mentioned about the $97...
Yeah.
I kind of look at it, and there's 3 or 4 of, those sites that are those $97 things.
Yeah.
What is it that really makes the difference? Because those $97...
There are affiliate sites. They will show up in Google for 3 to 6 months, and they will get deleted by those affiliate sites.
Yeah.
So that $97, it's good in theory because number one, it's affordable. Number two, it makes it seem super simple. But the reason why it's good is because it's a low ticket offer. So they're just acquiring the lead for $97 and they're selling them something on the back end.
Yeah,
right?
For sure. So then when somebody goes to you and says, like, I want that credibility, like, what are we talking about here? Like, what are the places to be credible?
It depends on the industry. So you could have, for example, like someone who wants to go big on Instagram and influence, and they want to be, an influencer and crack deals with different brands. Okay, magazine.
Yeah.
News.com. Like, there's so many, it needs to be niche specific.
Yeah.
I deal with entrepreneurs, so the typical Forbes, Yahoo Finance, Business Insider,
Perfect one,
TechCrunch, like, you know what I mean? All of those very
founder
well
startups.
Yeah. But and here's the other thing, Pat, as well. For example, people don't understand these traditional PR agencies. They can't guarantee anything. They can't sit down with you and say, "Hey, you're going to pay me $5,000 every single month, and this is what we're going to do." It's earned media. If they pick it up, and it's a big thing in the industry. People get upset when they see me, for example, being able to guarantee, and I get it. It's upsetting. I have no degree in PR. All of these old people have degrees in PR. They've been working on it for 20 years and they're still making $10,000 a month, and they came in and, you know what I mean?
Change the game a little bit, yeah.
But that's just, if you don't innovate quickly, you're going to be left behind. And this is why I've opened up the market now for PR agencies.
So where's the innovation here? Because I know, and I'd love to get a little bit more insight, because you kind of opened the can of worms to, hey, this is how PR works.
Yeah.
And this is who you need to know, what you need to do, right? Like,
this is the new way of PR. The old school way of PR, it's saying, hey, pal, we're going to just get earned media. We're going to pitch all these journalists. When in reality, journalists get so many different stories. There's a process that they have to go through. They have to talk to, the editor of the magazine. It's so much back and forth. And it's just unpredictable. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, because they got to pick up your story. They got to like it.
You got to like it. You have no control over the story. We control the entire story as well. That's the difference too.
You mean if someone pitches a story, basically they can modify it to however.
Yeah, correct. The journalist has that. You have no power over that.
Right. They're just getting the idea.
Correct.
And that's it.
So my job is to control everything that the people find about you on the internet. That's essentially what I do. It's not just the articles. It could be different podcasts as well. It could be review sites. Like, we go into the extreme of review sites now because that's how important it is for our clients. Because I deal with high ticket people that sell online courses, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. That's my clientele.
So really what people are paying for in getting into the right media, one is credibility, but the other thing is the right narrative.
Correct.
And speed.
Right? Speed. People value speed over anything, especially people that have money, right?
Yeah.
But I think there's something so powerful to be able to type your name in Google and have good content, have press articles, have a good personal website. There's no doubt anymore. Like, the only thing that you have to do now is just scale, right? I had a guy, his name is, I think I've told you about Nick before. He was doing about $40,000 a month, and he came to us. He's like, hey, I'm looking to scale. I'm struggling. My paid advertising is not converting on cold traffic because people are typing my name in Google. They're mentioning it to me on the phone. We're not converting. Boom, came in, Forbes Entrepreneur, different articles, page one, straight away. Yeah. Straight away to $100,000 the next month.
Yeah, wow.
2 months after that, $350. You know?
Coincidence, eh? Yeah. It's a big thing. Yeah.
It is a big thing. At scale, though. So if you're a small business, this is not going to be for you. Like, this is not going to work because you don't have enough traffic to justify it.
Yeah, there's not enough.
There's not enough traffic. There's not enough people seeing your stuff and knowing who you are, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you think it's going to go? As far as, bluetick.co, up until recently, the blue tick was the holy grail.
Yeah. Right. I was going to say, I don't want to tell you, I'm kidding. Now, the blue tick thing, man, like, it was the cancer to our industry.
Right.
It was the biggest cancer to the industry because it was so dodgy. So dodgy. We had, back in the day, you could get verified as a fake musician. There was a guy who fell out with his partner who was pretty big in the industry, who then started a lawsuit, and then Instagram actually got involved in that. They looked into cases. That's, how a few people lost their verified badge. And I think Elon, I didn't think that Elon would actually start this movement where companies would charge for the verification. But I think it's great. I really, truly do think it's great because it shows people that it's not what they thought it was. And I said it to my clients. Every time somebody would want to get verified, I'm like, why?
What was the main reason that you would get?
They want girls.
Yeah.
They wanted girls. They wanted more status and authority. And I was like, well, if you want status and authority, get featured on the press. Regardless of what happens, you have to get featured on the press to get verified.
Yeah,
right?
You still need it, yeah.
And then you've got these kids that were like guaranteeing like the entire process, right? It's like, it's impossible to guarantee you. You don't work at Facebook and Instagram. I can build you a case, the best possible case, so you can get approved, but that's it.
But it's still up to the platform.
Like, if you apply for a visa, mate, I might have the law firm to get it done for you, but I can't guarantee it. Yeah, I will put you in the best possible position to do it, but I can't guarantee it. So it's a very wishy-washy service that I didn't offer it that much at all, unless I knew that the client was, number one, extremely committed, And number two, I knew that there was a high chance that it will get
That was
approved.
gonna, okay. Like a law, like a lawsuit.
Yeah,
like a lawyer.
Yeah, correct. Like I wouldn't take him on. It's a waste of time.
Yeah. And so the change now, I mean, look, I think it's positive from, people getting scammed and stuff. I've heard a lot of stories around that. So how do you then adapt as a business? Because I know a lot of PR, I know a lot of PR was driven in order to get that verification. So what's your adaptation now? Like, where are you going with Blue Tick?
I think it's understanding the core issue that our clients face and being able to communicate it in a way where we just solve that issue by doing multiple things at one time, like the podcasting, the interviews, the articles, all that sort of stuff. It's not just one thing, right? It's everything.
Yeah.
So for us, our clients, the issue that they have is they struggle to convert on cold traffic, right? As soon as they want to scale, they will struggle to convert. It could be a reason of, branding issues, not good image, maybe bad reviews. It could even be like some of the closes. Because a lot of these business owners, and I did a video the other day, it's like, for example, even through their booking system, when somebody books a call with them, they have no follow-up system. They have they have no funnels, they don't answer any frequently asked questions. They don't follow up the prospect because there's a period where the prospect would go cold, man. 48 hours, 24 hours to wait for the call.
Yeah. And they don't show up.
Dude, you're in sales. Like, what happens in that?
Yeah, it's a critical time. It's definitely a critical time. They don't show up.
Yeah. So if you, for example, were paying every single month to Saks $10,000 on Facebook ads, and you were having 100 calls and only 50% of them show up, like, dude, like, that's 10K. Go on.
Yeah.
You're going to have to follow up with those leads. Eventually, they'll book. But if you would have had the right system in place where, you're like, hey, I know that we're catching up in 24 hours. I know that you have to do your due diligence, and I hope that you do that. I think it's important. Go ahead, type my name in Google, see what comes up. Go to my YouTube. I have different articles. Don't say, hey, this is them. A client called me yesterday. He goes, I'm going to do an ad. I'm going to be like, hey, I've been featured on CBC, Daily Mail. Blah. It's like, don't do that. Everyone else is doing that, dude. Be casual about it.
Yeah.
Hey, I know that obviously we have a call in 24 hours. I think you should go ahead and check me out on Google. Type my name in Google, see what comes up. There's a bunch of articles that you can check out. Yeah. That's how you do it.
Yeah, it makes sense though, right?
You don't rub it on people's face.
Yeah, be tactful about it, right? I think
Tactics,
I think that's a good thing. And then, like, what do you think for somebody who's building a brand? Because that's really what essentially you're giving people, right? Is that branding? And I'm not talking about logos and
it's the
like
perception
that, right?
of value. That's what it is, Pat. Right? Another guy that we both know, Job, as well, Job Neal maybe.
Yeah.
Job was having a lot of issues converting clients on Facebook organically, right? He was not even scaling. Like, he was just trying to make consistent 10K a month. And I said, mate, this was like 2 years ago, and we started taking off.
Yeah.
And I said, come on a call with me for an hour. And I looked at him in the eye, and if you're gonna get to know me more now that we one-on-one, but I'm very brutal. So I said, mate, you look like a fucking weird cunt. That's what I said to him. You look weird. You look like a guy from jail. You look scary online. It's like, change your DP. And you said, I need you to go and book professional photos right now. I need you to change your entire cover. I need you to start posting high quality stuff. Sit there and think about what you want to tell people. Do it every day, no matter what happens. Engage with people and DM people every day. Dude, next month, boom, 10K.
Rest is history, right?
But it's because people, again, like, they don't buy from those that they trust and like, because trust is it takes a long time to trust somebody.
Yeah.
I've got people following me for a long time on Facebook that have booked calls, they haven't bought with us, and they come on the call saying, like, I love Jules, I know him, I've seen all his content, whatever, and they still don't buy. Maybe there was a sense of admiration there that wasn't aligned with them at that point, and that's okay. It happens. You're not going to close everybody.
Yeah.
But I really, truly do believe that if you can get your profile or yourself to be somewhat admired by your potential clients,
that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. Yeah, because, so many people online now, it's like it's a lot of competition.
Oh,
right?
so much competition.
And then there's different tactics, Facebook groups.
Like, how many people do you know that run an e-commerce offer?
Yeah, a lot.
Or high ticket offer, like become a high ticket close. And that's a big one now.
Yeah. That's a massive one, because it's an opportunity for a lot of people. There's low barriers of entry, and and people can genuinely make good money, but the conditions have to be right, for them to do that. And it's the same with a lot of the coaches, right? What do you see is a big differentiator? Like, what would make somebody's brand stand out? Besides, I think if you're doing PR and you do it in the right way, it's a beautiful thing. what do you think? What else can they do? Like, what's some other
Content. I think content's really important.
How do they make that content different?
That's a good question. I think you have to look at people that you like, but you don't have to copy them. I think that's a big mistake.
I think
Big
that's a good
mistake
one. Tell me a bit
copying
more
people.
about that, because I think that is a massive one where people try to do that.
I've gone through the mistake of so. Quick recap. So I was heavy on content, and now I'm removing myself being the face of the business. So I'm going to do content for my personal brand, not so much for the business.
Yeah.
However, I think looking at examples is important, but if you're able to understand the value that you bring into the table, and you're able to come up with your own strategy on how you can, show that to the world, that's what you have to do. You have to be unique, and that's a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
To be unique.
How do you do it? How do you find a point where you're unique enough to keep going? Because I spoke with someone about this, and it's a good point. They felt like their uniqueness was not interesting.
Yeah, but that's a confidence issue.
Yeah, so it's not really that they're not unique or that not interesting, right?
I think what they have to do is try different pieces of content. Like, for example, I've seen Tanner now do like an example of him looking at somebody else's video, then him walking on the street, then him doing this. So whatever gets the most views and likes, keep doing that. For example, I did a video on my Instagram, and I wasn't shooting reels. I just literally 3 days into posting my first 3 reels on Instagram.
Yeah.
The second one got 25K views. So then I understood, I'm like, if I can make 80% of my content broad and 20% of it niched, I've got a winner. Because I'm appealing 80% to the broad market and 20% to people that follow me and like me for what I actually do for work.
Yeah.
I don't think you should go fully into what you do specifically. I think if you want to build a good personal brand, it needs to be broad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And Tanner also mentioned this as well in the past. When you look at Alex Amusi as well, the type of content that he does, it's pretty broad.
It is actually, yeah. It
Pretty
is.
broad.
Because you got to go a little bit wide first, right?
Yeah.
And have certain topics about that. And I think, especially when people are starting out as well, they're trying to find a niche and try to find that little market for themselves. I think you do that to make really good income. But if you want to grow your audience, you do have to branch out quite a bit, right? Like you have to be a little bit more broad with you.
But again, I think it depends on your personality too. For example, this for you is great because like you are working, you're getting value, it's content that you can chop up and then repost. This is great. This is what I love about doing podcasts because you can repurpose everything, right? But when you're sitting there in front of the camera, and you're reading a script, it's annoying.
Yeah.
You're a business owner. You want to just go ahead and focus on the business. Now, I think content is really important, but it can be also distracting for certain people too.
Yeah, okay. In what way?
Especially if you're not hitting certain milestones every single month. I think posting just niche content to the people that you want to convert, it's more relevant than going broad. Does that make sense? So when I started, I picked Facebook as my platform, nothing else. Facebook has been the main driver for my business. Still. Now I'm diversifying to Instagram a little bit, but Facebook is where all my leads and everything comes from.
Yeah, okay. And so what would be handy for somebody in terms of, growing an audience? Because I know, and again, sometimes this is the difficulty when you're trying to get advice from different people.
Yeah.
Right? And at different levels where they say, you have to be everywhere. But in reality, like if you focused on one platform, that's really where most of your business comes from, right?
I'm going to talk to the people that are not I'm going to assume that question is based around people that are making below $10,000 a month, right?
Yeah, let's make it for that.
Because to me, that is, with my eyes closed, I can help anyone do that, right? Not like I do, but like I'm just because I know it and I do it so consistently, right? With my own business and whatever in terms of the numbers is not relevant. But the important thing here is this: number one, perception of value. So good display photo. I'm gonna break down everything that you have to do in order for you to like grow to that level.
Yeah.
Good DP, right? Good cover. The bio needs to be direct. People need to know straight away as soon as they read it what you're doing, who you are. Not bullshit like I help people align with the soul and system so they can feel aligned. Yeah, that's great and beautiful, but what's the result that people are gonna get at the end straight away? Like I need to know.
Yeah.
Then I'd make really relevant content on video. Both a mixture of video, status update on Facebook, and then an image.
Yeah.
Okay. I would try at least post twice a week client wins. Okay. I would also try and start an engagement group with your friends. So people that you have in the industry, if you have no friends in the industry, get into a mini low ticket course, message people like, hey, like I'm starting this engagement group.
Yeah.
And get people to engage on your post. right? If you can get 5 comments or 5 likes, whatever, to start off, the algorithm is going to start pushing it out there. Do that every day. Plus, comment on people's posts, like them, and message people and start building your database. So the reason I think that I've done well and I've been patient in a way when I was building my audience on Facebook is because I came from the mindset on real estate. In real estate, when you come in new into real estate, they're like, dude, you've got a phone, you got a couple of numbers, call people and build relationships with them. So they would always put in your mind the relationship that you build today is the relationship that you're going to have in 5 years when somebody says, hey, Jules, I want to sell my property with you.
Yeah.
It's a completely different mindset, right?
Yeah.
Another thing that's really important that people don't understand is frequency builds trust. That's not my quote, that's Gavin Rubinstein's quote. But frequency builds trust, okay? And that's always been on my mind. I'm like, how can I stay relevant to my people? How can I give them relevant updates? How can I give them value? So when it comes to the point where they're like, hey, you know what? I think we need this PR thing. I know a guy from Facebook, that Jules guy.
Yeah.
They call me and nobody else.
Yeah, that's huge.
There's a secret of becoming the obvious choice. You just have to be there consistently. You know, people are lazy, dude.
Yeah, I know.
It's easy to overpass the competition.
Yeah.
So easy. And you know what? It's even easier to pass the people that are at the top, I think. You know why?
Why is that?
Because they're complacent. Trust me.
Yeah.
If somebody's making $1 million a month, they'll be like, no, I'm hungry for more. Especially in the online space. You see them going out to parties. You see them like buying Rolexes. You see them like buying into this lifestyle. This is why I know that I'm going to win because I'm like, I don't give a fuck about that. I really don't care. I don't care about showing off to people anymore or like saying, hey, about this, I'll do this. I just care about growing me and helping my family. And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't need, for example, go and talk to chicks on Tinder or anything. Like I've got a partner. Like I'm sweet, dude. Like I am ready to shoot this rocket, man. You know what I mean? I'm ready to go to Mars because I'm like, I've got no distractions. I don't smoke. I don't do drugs. I've got a partner. Dude, compare it to the kid who makes X, Y, and Z a month, who's single, who's got all this money. Then the issue is like, how do you get there, but how do you keep it consistent?
Yeah,
You know?
for sure. There's 2 parts to it, I think.
You have to be hungry, though.
Yeah.
You have to be hungry.
Yeah, because consistency is a massive one. When you're first starting, you do it and you give up too easy. That's one. And then when you get to the top, like you said, you get complacent a little bit.
The other important thing, I think, it's the right opportunity vehicle. I've heard that, and I saw that on an ad from Cole Gordon as well. He's got a really cool ad about like, oh, Warren Buffett talks about the opportunity vehicle, whatever. And it's true. I really do think that the opportunity vehicle is so important. You know?
It is, 100%.
If you're a beginner and you get into e-com now, very hard.
Yeah.
You can win still, but the chances of success are substantially lower in comparison if you went to, for example, start a PR agency, for example, with someone like me, right? Give you the contacts, you do it, boom. Not many people doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
Where's Jules going to go in the next few years?
I'm going to move to the Spanish market.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, that's why I'm removing myself from Blue Tick. I want Blue Tick to be the face. I want Blue Tick to be everything that we do for our clients. We're also probably going to expand to different markets besides that make money online space or high ticket coaches, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, okay.
Work with more corporate companies
Wow.
because of the access that we have. But I'm really focused on building the B2B aspect of the business because it's more consistent and long term.
Yeah, okay.
And he can run without me as well. I've got a good team, Kelly, who runs my team, and she does everything.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's like I really do want to go back to my roots, my Spanish roots, and I feel responsible, man. You know what I mean? People in my country are fucking poor.
Yeah.
And nobody, like all these other people that I see online that are teaching stuff, they're all doing affiliates and just trying to make money off people, which is great, right? You have to make money to run a business, but there's not the same information. They're like 5 years behind.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So if I can come in with the experience that I have and I can genuinely help people, right? Well, obviously making money myself because I'm a business owner.
Yeah.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's huge. That's massive goals to have, right?
I really want to go
bigger than yourself, really, right?
I envision myself having like this charity or even school teaching people about how to run ads, how to do things digital. Because think about this, right? If you're a kid and you're 16 in South America, the likelihood of you getting into drugs and being killed or suffering. I lost 2 of my good friends to suicide in Chile already. One of them at 21, another one at 24. Because of drugs, because of vandalism, you know? If I could give these kids away on how they can not only help themselves, but help their family and, have a balanced life and not have to stress about money and have to resort to doing drugs, I've won. Yeah. I'm rich. I'm already rich. I'm already a multi-billionaire in my brain, but not from the money. From the support that I have from God, my family, my partner, and everything that I have. Like that's the real rich to me.
Yeah.
It's not the money. It's what I have around me that has helped me get to this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
Changing lives for sure.
For sure, dude. I want to ask you a question. What do you think about, do you think that the salespeople have to be talented to do really well in sales?
Nah, not at all.
Why is that?
Not at all. Because it's the same things as in business. You have to be consistent, and you have to be patient enough that you don't get too far ahead and your work ethic stays the same.
How? Because I was talking about this with the boys. You know, I have a big group of Melbourne boys. They all work online. How do you keep a closer motivated when they start making 20, 30K? And then they think, you know what, Pat? I want to go and run my own business now. I think I can do it for myself.
Yeah, it happens.
That's a very difficult. I don't think people talk about that enough.
Well, there's a couple of things. I think as a business owner, you have to give them the opportunity to what their vision is as well.
Yeah.
Right. So if someone's goal was just to make 20 a month and they're happy with that, they want to buy their house and just live that lifestyle, then that's the opportunity you give them, right? But if people are more ambitious than that, then you have to include them in your plans somehow. As long as you have a bigger vision and they want their own thing, why not facilitate that for them so that you're involved, right?
But what they don't see is that, for example, we work all the time. They don't see, for example, they think, oh, you make X, Y, and Z a month. Like, I want to make that. It's like, no, we don't pay ourselves that a month. You know, they don't see all of that. So, like, I think being a high ticket closer on a good offer, it's actually life changing.
It's really good, man. Like, it's
really
actually
good.
Really good. It's actually really good. And I think, you know, again, not everyone's built for, you know, the next stages. But if someone is inclined in that way, man, you get them involved so they can see exactly what it's like.
That's right.
In your shoes, right? Yeah. And they can make the decision for themselves. Am I happy with where I'm at, or do I want to keep going to those next levels? And if it is to those next levels, at least you've served them in a way that they can see, hey, if I do it, I'm going to eat shit for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not gonna make the same 20 grand a month because I've got to pay people, or, you know, I've got to pay all this other stuff, right?
The unpredictability of like investing in something and that not working out, the unpredictability of putting money here after that not working out. Like, being a business owner, like you're a psychopath if you're a business owner, dude. Like, you just
you're wired a little bit different.
You're wired different. Like, it's like you just don't even care about losing anymore. Like, because you're like, dude, it's just part of the game. It's like when you go and play poker, they're like, fucking, of course you have to fold. Whatever.
You can't win all of them, right?
You can't win all of them. But when you win big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been getting into the startup and investing space quite a bit.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Now, which, you know, I love it. So there's, you know, different things where we're investing in companies and we've got our own startup going. And the thing is, we're dealing with some of these investors. And I think this is the case even for sales, right, and business in general.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that when they go to get an investment, that the investor's thinking about putting those ideas down, or they don't want to invest, right? But in actual fact, when you pitch something to investors, they're trying to figure out a way that they can win from it. It's a total opposite from people who aren't investing, where they look at a company and go, oh, this is the reasons why that's not going to work.
Interesting.
The smart investors, that's what dumb investors do. Smart investors, how could this work?
How could this work?
They're always looking at it in that way. If I put 50 grand or 100 grand into this, how can I make 100 times that back? Can I make 100 times that back? They don't think about, oh, am I going to lose this 100 grand?
But they're not thinking, hey, I want that next year. They're thinking, hey, I want that 5, 10.
What does that look like?
Dude, I'm having goosebumps right now. I wish you could feel it. Because I had a conversation with one of my old friends. So I want to be open and raw on this podcast, which is what I promised that I would do, right? When I started doing well, I had this superior, how would you say, superior complexity or something like that over my old friends, the ones that didn't run a business, the ones that I knew forever and had the best memories, and I stopped talking to them. I went extreme. I'm an extreme character. It's like I don't want to
shut them down.
It's like I don't want to talk to anyone that doesn't make money online.
Yeah, okay.
And recently I came back, like actually yesterday, and I called every single one of them and I apologized. Said, I'm sorry. This is what I went through. This is what I did. And I want you to know that I'm sorry that I did that to you, and I want to reconnect again. It's crazy. Like when you grow up, man, as you grow up, you let go of so much baggage.
Yeah.
And you realize that, dude, it's not even that fucking important. Like, it's not relevant. Like, you know, you hear from motivational speakers, ditch all your shit friends, whatever. I get that. Like, it doesn't mean that I'm going to hang out with my fucking old friends all the time. But, you know, we had good memories, dude. It's important to reconnect and be humble. I feel like I've become more humble. Definitely within, I feel like. Even, you didn't know this, on the way up here, the guy that runs this show, when I went downstairs, he opened the doors with his hands. So then I went downstairs and I tried to do it. And the guy next door told me off. He's like, what are you fucking doing, mate? I was like, I'm trying to open it. He goes like, don't do that. And then I looked at him and I felt the rage coming up. I was like, yeah, fucking. And then I looked at him. I was like, hey, you know what? Thank you for pulling me up on that. I am sorry. Would you be able to let me in?
Yeah.
He's like, absolutely. And his tone changed. But do you see the emotion and intelligence there? Like when I was aware of this force that was coming up, I was ready to go and do my macho thing. Like, argh!
Yeah, and clash.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That's one of the hardest things to do as a man, especially if you're doing well, you have a bit of ego. But I'm sorry. I made a mistake. It wasn't my intention that I made you feel that way. Would you forgive me?
Yeah.
That's a difficult thing to do.
That's huge. It is. It is. It's a good example, actually. I think even in the online space, business, there's a lot of that.
There's a lot of ego. There's a lot of friction. There's a lot of fake friendships. Yesterday, I hang out with one of my friends. I'm not going to give too many names, but like he had me blocked on Instagram. And then I looked at him. I was like, why did you have me blocked? And we had a dinner. We're at this expensive place, dude. I paid like $1,000 yesterday for like the dinner for all of us. And I'm like, why did you block me? And then he started thinking, he's like, I think you made me upset about a time that, you know, we said that we're going to go ahead and do press, and then I was screwing you a little bit. And you made me feel like our relationship was just about business, not friendship. And then I looked at him and I was like, I'm sorry that I made you feel that way. It was never my intention. And then he looked at me back. He's like, me too. I'm sorry that I assumed that. Let's move past. Yeah. And I think that's so beautiful. The fact that we're able to do that.
I was gonna say it takes someone to lead that. I think it doesn't just happen that way.
It's confrontational. Right? That's people avoid confrontational situations. Yeah, I go forward with them.
Yeah, but and because they try to avoid it, sometimes it makes it worse, right? And they don't know how to handle it.
People appreciate honesty, though. You know.
It is,
Another example, I'm not sure how you are with your friends, but with my friends, I pull them up all the time and they pull me up as well. You know, I said, you're being very incongruent. I'm not going to give names. One time, one of my friends, I lent one of my friends money. Hey, I'm going to pay you. I call him up, said, listen, last call, you being incongruent, you mentioned you're going to do this on this date. I don't need the money. It's the fact that you said you're going to do something and you didn't do it. So I need the money now or we're never speaking again. Money got transferred.
Yeah. Yeah.
Boundaries.
I think that's good. Boundaries, yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. It's like how you deal with clients sometimes. You know, you have to have those boundaries. Otherwise you can't run a business properly.
Yeah, but I feel like also with clients that we don't have any problematic clients now. At the beginning, I did a couple of them.
Yeah.
But I feel like, how do you deal with that? How do you deal with like complicated clients?
Oh, luckily
not
I
now, but like when you first
got
got started, right? Like for a beginner, like that's listening to this.
Yeah. Well, I learned that the hard way when taking on problematic clients. You just try to overservice them.
Yeah.
I got to a point where someone's problematic, we just part ways.
That's it.
You know,
so much better.
Yeah, part ways, and then you just move on. Or if you know if it's problematic in a way that you can solve it, and you're both on the same page.
Yeah.
First and foremost, then yeah, for sure. I mean, we would deal with it. And get our hands in there and, overserve. But if there's a fundamental flaw in the communication, then it's better to just part ways.
Kelly always laughs at me because she says I always get away with everything. But I get away with everything with my clients specifically when something goes good or bad or whatever because I pre-frame everything. So on the sales call, I literally say, hey, like these are the things that could go wrong. These. When they happen, if they do happen, which is rare, I don't want you to scream at me. I don't want you to swear at me because if you do, I'll cancel the contract and take the money.
Yeah.
I have that on my contract. I'd literally say that because I'm like, I don't tolerate that and I will take the money.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll pursue you for money. Not because I'm a greedy bastard. It's because I just don't tolerate that.
Yeah.
It's professionalism, right?
Yeah. It's the boundaries that you set as well.
It's the boundaries. So it's like when this happens, if it does happen, here's how we're going to deal with it. You're going to leave it to me because that's what you pay me to do. Yeah. I'll come up with a solution. Then we agree, move forward. That's it. No feelings.
And then it's all good.
And it's done.
Yeah.
And since we've done that, zero issues.
Yeah. That's awesome, man.
Yeah,
that's really cool. That's really cool.
Where do you see your stuff going, man? With the
man, I've got I've got a couple of things on the go at the moment, but my main aim is really to, well, I always say this, is build generational wealth.
Yeah.
And what that means for me is different for everybody else. But
what does that mean for you?
well, it's setting everything up so that the generations through my kids,
Their
sort of their well-being is looked after for the rest of their lives.
Why is that important for you though?
Oh man, I know my parents when they moved to Australia from the Philippines, that they had that in mind, is to set us up for for
Immigrant parents, that hardcore, like
just like dad worked 3 jobs and mum worked 2 jobs, just hardworking. Not
My
necessarily,
parents as well,
and they come from educated backgrounds, but it's still the industrial way of doing things. I just feel like it's a good opportunity now in the modernized or well-connected world.
Yeah.
That there's an opportunity to kind of shift that mentality and make a change for our family to be able to do that. So that we've got freedom of choice. That's really my big thing, is just the freedom to do this.
That's the key word, freedom of choice. That's what money gives you. It just gives you choices.
Yeah, you just need it. You just need money for that.
You need money to have
choice,
choices.
So I'm not. Yeah, I think sometimes people get a bit delusional that you can get freedom and you can that. But
I think about money this way. Let's say we were in jail. Fuck, let's hope not. But if you were in jail, right, and you had normal access to normal stuff, just the gym and normal food at this time, versus somebody who's got access to having a meal whenever he wants, going to the gym whenever he wants, hanging out whenever he wants, having a phone, right? Like, if you were in the jail, you'd look at that and you'd be like, dude, I want to have that too. That's the way that I look at money, right? Like, it just gives you privileged access.
Yeah, so it does.
If you can have it, why not get it?
Yeah. Oh, man.
Why not get it?
I would always do that.
Why not get it?
For sure.
Why not me? I want everybody to leave this podcast today and think, why not me?
Yeah.
I think about that all the time.
It's a great question. Because I think when people look at that, they go, well, there's 2 things. One is they say they put everything on that person.
Yeah.
They relieve all responsibility from them and they go, oh, that's them. Lucky them, whatever.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes when they ask why not me, it's like, then they answer it, they back it up with the wrong bias. They say, because I've got this, my hands are tied.
To prove my point, I literally, my tattoo, you'll read it here. What does it say? Dude.
Why the fuck?
It says, dude, why the fuck not?
Yeah.
I live by that.
Yeah.
Why not me?
Yeah, that's huge.
Somebody listening to this who may be stuck, or they may feel like things are not progressing as fast as they like, look at your results. Look what you're doing every day, because ultimately it is your responsibility.
Yeah.
Right. But also there's a silver lining on that, is what you mentioned, which is having the vision and being okay waiting for that result to come.
Yeah.
And that is one of the most difficult things. The other thing that I want to highlight, it's you're gonna, at some point in this journey, you'll feel depressed. You need to understand that. I don't think this is spoken about enough. I feel depressed like maybe every quarter or something like that. Yeah. I go through like 2 days of just pure like just
difficult times. Yeah.
Yeah, like anxiety, just fuck, like I want to go, like just like fucking proper depression. I'm that serious. I call my friends, but I call my friends. See, that's the difference. I have no shame. I'll call my friend and be like, I feel depressed today. I feel like that's really important, because it's lonely. There's no one cheering for you.
Nah, not really.
No one. No one. So when people have these inspirations, I want to do this thing. Great, but just know what's going to happen when you're in the road. Know that when you're on the plane, there may be turbulence, but that's okay. That's part of the journey.
Yeah.
You know?
I think, and enjoying that and embracing it, I think is a really good
It's
thing.
a difficult thing to do, though, to enjoy that journey.
It is, man. It is.
Yeah. What's your advice for people that are starting out as well?
There's always...
How did you start out?
How did I start out?
Yeah. I know this podcast is about art. Like
I kind of come across it by accident, because I was closing. I was doing... I started a couple of things, didn't really pan out. But I had a client that I was closing for connect and say, hey, man, I just need more people. Can you help me build the team? So, yeah, man, like it's going to cost this much. he goes, yeah. And he said yes. So I was like,
Yeah,
well,
whoa, light bulb moment.
Oh, shit, okay,
I think
cool.
I can do this.
yeah. So I started doing that. And then I thought, I could probably do this for some other people. So I just got referred, and that's kind of how it came up. I was trying to coach people on how to sell. And
How difficult is that, man?
yeah, I just found some people not ready to actually take on the learning and implement it.
You know why that
that's
is,
how
Pat?
it kind of done for you service.
I was thinking about this the other day. I was crossing the road, and there was an accident. It happened in front of me, right? It wasn't massive, just an accident, right? Car came through, the oil cut off, whatever. It wasn't big. But then I thought about AI and sales and everything that we do. And I was like, AI is great, but I wonder if AI would be able to, for example, get out of the computer every day and experience, for example, walking randomly in the street, right? And then car crash, boom.
Yeah.
Okay, when I cross the street, I have to be careful because that happened here right next to me, right?
Yeah,
That's the difference
That's
between
an
humans
emotion,
and
yeah.
AI. It's the daily experience that gives us that, human touch.
Human touch. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's the relatability as well.
Relatability.
Yeah.
It comes down to your content. Everything needs to be relatable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
It's crazy.
Dude, that was
Yeah.
amazing, man.
Yeah, I had a lot of
was
fun,
a good
man.
chat.
I feel like we keep talking for hours,
I was
man.
going to say,
I don't stop. That's my
I think
problem.
we got a lot of things to talk about. We might have to do an episode number 2. And
Yeah.
have one again, man. But no, I appreciate the insight, man. I know that's going to be useful for people, not just starting out,
Yeah.
but in all levels. I think people go through that, and man, I appreciate it a lot.
Anytime, I want to leave everybody to everyone that's listening to these. Hit me up as well if you guys want to get some free publicity. I'm more than happy to hook you up with one article as well. That's not a problem.
We'll drop some links,
Yeah.
for sure, in the bottom of this video.
Yeah. But more importantly, like I want you to leave this thinking, why not me? Really, because that's the question that I ask myself every day, and that's what really helps me keep pushing forward, no matter at what level. Like, why not me? There's always someone better than me.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong. People say, hey, why are you so ambitious? Hey, why do you always want more?
Yeah.
Why not? There's nothing.
Why not?
There's
Yeah.
no more meaning to it. Just why not me?
Yeah.
That's
100%, man.
That's
100%. I appreciate that for
it.
sure.
Anytime, bro. Thank you.
Thanks, brother.